Hi there and welcome to e-GMAT. My name is Stacy Trepanner. I'm one of the subject matter experts here on the e-GMAT team, and I'm going to tackle this official question with you. We're going to be using the super strength of the e-GMAT three-step meaning-based approach to solve this official hard question from OG Advanced. So let's start flexing those muscles using the meaning analysis to extract the author's intended meaning from the sentence structure. In despite of the steady population flow out. So right away I see the word despite sitting here at the beginning of the sentence, and I know I have a contrast that I'm going to be looking for. So I'm going to keep my eye out for that contrast. In despite of the steady population flow, so I know how I have this population flow, and this flow is out of something. Population flow out from rural areas into urban clusters. Okay, so this population flow is going from these rural areas, and the stopping point is these urban clusters. Okay, nearly 5 million farm households are still in Japan. So this seems to be where my contrast is coming together. So despite this flow out of one area into the other, we still have nearly 5 million farm households in Japan out of the total population of some 116 million people. So out of this 5 million, so out of the total population is bringing together that 5 million out of the total population of 116 million people. All right, we may be super geniuses because this meaning seemingly pretty straightforward, but let's pull these key aspects and make sure that everything is exactly what we think it is. So the first thing we know is that many people are moving from rural to urban areas. This is the first piece of meaning right here that we extracted from that sentence. The second piece was that contrast, that despite this movement of the population, there are close to 5 million farm households still in Japan. So this contrast is the second aspect. And the third piece is this 5 million is out of the 116 million people who make up the total population. So that's this third aspect. So, all right, maybe we are super geniuses. The meaning and the aspects are all clear. The intended communication is pretty straightforward. Let's see if we have the same strength in spotting any villainous errors in our sentence. So as we started reading the sentence, we saw in despite of the study, and we noted in that meaning analysis that despite is indeed presenting a contrast, okay? But despite as a contrast word works alone. The use of despite has no sidekicks. We do not need in and we do not need of. So this is a bit of a structural expression error. Despite to express the contrast is just this word plus this noun, the steady population flow. We don't need in and of to help despite in this sentence. So that's going to be our first error. As we continue reading, we saw population flow out from. Now, a lot of students ask, well, do we need both out and from? That's a little wordy. It's not a deterministic error. It's not a grammatical error. I mean, we could just say population flow from, but the use of out is not a deterministic error here. Now, we talked about this flow is from point A to point B. That was our meaning analysis. We had this movement between these points. And let's talk about the use of this word into. Now, when we say into something, we're talking about containment within something, putting something into something else. So there's the villainous Joker. And if I say the Dark Knight put the Joker into jail, I am communicating that the Joker is now contained in that cell. He is within that cell. Now, the author's intended meaning here isn't to say that the population is now contained within that cluster. The intended meaning is the movement between these 2 points. Similarly, Captain America runs from the Washington Monument to the Lincoln Memorial. All right, so we have from point A, the rural areas, to point B, the urban clusters. So we definitely have an idiom issue here. From X into Y is going to be incorrect. Our correct idiom needs to be from X to Y. And the final error we have in our sentence is a slight meaning error with this modifier. 5 million farm households are still in Japan. This seems to be communicating that some have left the country or have left Japan. And there is no context to tell us that some of the population emigrated to other nations. The context clearly tells us the movement is between the 2 points we've discussed. So we need a modifier that communicates this meaning more clearly. So let's get to work running through these answer choices and see if we can find a hero here. Choice A is out for all the reasons that we have just discussed. Let's take a look at choice B. Now, choice B gives us a proper contrast in spite of, also works as a contrast here. It, unlike despite, does work with some sidekicks. So the use of in and of with spite together presents that contrast. That is indeed correct. However, we still have the improper use of the duo from into to get us from point A into B. This is idiomatically incorrect. So it's not resolving our idiom issue, and our meaning issue hasn't been changed here. We still have that ambiguous meaning that seems to be communicating some of these households that have left Japan. So choice B is out. Let's take a look at choice C here. Now, choice C properly uses despite as the contrast, standing alone. Unfortunately, our idiom issue from into still exists, so that hasn't been resolved here. Now, we do have a slight change in structure with our meaning issue here. Now we have Japan's farm households are still nearly 5 million. Now, the meaning here seems to be communicating that there are 5 million people on farms instead of 5 million farm households. And the structure is not quite working for me either. We would not say the family members are 4. So we definitely should not write households are 5 million. So structural issues with choice C and the idiom issue still exists. Let's take a look at choice D, see if that's our hero of the group. And it's absolutely looking like it is. We have despite triumphantly standing at the beginning of our sentence to present that contrast. We have the dynamic duo of from A to B. So this is absolutely working the way we need it to. And then we have clear communication at the end. There are still nearly 5 million farm households in Japan. No ambiguity that any have left the country. It's clear, it's concise. Everything is expressed logically and in a grammatically correct manner. So choice D is looking like it's going to get our job done and win the battle of the meaning and the idioms and the contrast that we need. But let's take a look at choice E and make sure. Now, choice E, we immediately can spot from into, which gives us that idiom issue again. So that duo is not going to work. And we also have some movement with our word still over here. Now, still used to, in our previous options, sit over here with the verb are and communicate that sense of timing. But now with this movement of still away from the verb, we're left to wonder if it's communicating the same meaning. Is it still intending to communicate time, or is it meaning nevertheless? Is it intending to stay here? Nevertheless, there are nearly 5 million farm households. It's a little ambiguous. So we're going to go ahead and reject choice E for the idiom issue and the movement of still being a bit mischievous there. And choice D is indeed the correct answer in the hero of this group. So a few quick takeaways for you. Always make sure your idioms communicate the intended meaning in a grammatically correct way. Contrast can be communicated through a variety of expressions, but must be logically and grammatically correct. Beware of structures that move words around and change the intended meaning. We saw that mischievous movement of still that confused that meaning a bit in choice E. So be careful with those words and where they end up in the sentences. And remember, if you use meaning plus the basic grammar tools, you will soon find yourself an SC Avenger. Please make sure you drop a like below. Subscribe to our channel. Let us know you were here. If you subscribe, you will definitely find yourself getting notifications of more content that we're posting to help you along your GMAT journey. Make sure you check the links in the description to find more helpful resources. And from all of us at e-GMAT, happy learning.